the challenges that Mr. Speaker has in managing the House. So it should go both ways. Minority Leader.
Well, thank you. So please, let's all be reminded, per our standing orders 935, it's supposed to be comment. Don't do it in such a way that it will degenerate into debate. Please, so let's take you so that you have, yes, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I humbly crave. I do not intend to make my contribution degenerate into a debate. Mr. Speaker, we have been in this House, and majority of members of this House have spoken and made reference to campaign and manifesto promises. They mentioned the 24 hours. They mention the 24 hours regularly, virtually in every statement they make. It's a campaign promise that they are hoping and expecting to make it, to realize it. Mr. Speaker, so it is not wrong or out of fetch for me to also mention the campaign promises that they made to the cocoa farmers that they are going to increase the cocoa from 3,000 to 6,000. Mr. Speaker, so if we are celebrating Chocolate Day, and I'm
honorable members,
the welfare
please,
of the cocoa farmers should be looked
if
at.
it goes out of hand, I will please. Honorable member, please.
So, Mr. Speaker, having said that, it is also important that we prioritize the.
But you've spoken more than 5 minutes. Just.
It is important that we prioritize the farming areas and the roads that leads to the cocoa farming areas. I know all the constituencies and then the districts that are planting cocoa or have cocoa farmers would push for their roads to be developed. The Speaker, the maker of the maker of the statement also raised one very important issue, which is the illegal mining that is gradually eating the cocoa farming areas, which is important. All of us as a House should find a way how we can help. If we have to incentivize them, if we have to do whatever we have to do to make sure that our cocoa farmers don't turn their cocoa growing areas into mining areas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much. Yes, I've seen, Minister, you'll be the last person to speak. So just give me the, let me, I've noticed Professor Bayo. Reverend, I'll come to you, please. Yes, Prof.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the 3 statements made. And I want to also celebrate all our cocoa farmers and all those involved in the production chain for cocoa. As a medical personnel, I want to touch a bit on the health benefits of cocoa. And I think the first speaker mentioned some of them. And I just want to say that the cocoa offers us a lot of health benefits that we are missing. From our brain health, cocoa releases something we call endorphins. And these endorphins modulate our mood. So they can manage depression, those who are suffering from broken hearts on a day of love. Some bit of cocoa can give you a very good mood. So we are encouraged to consume a lot of dark chocolate. Polyphenols from cocoa is cardioprotective, health in anti-inflammatory effects, can protect against cancers, can give you very beautiful skin, and control blood pressure and blood sugar. It is therefore very important that we encourage the consumption of cocoa. I would encourage that public functions should have cocoa breaks instead of coffee breaks. And we should encourage the consumption of cocoa during such events. Mr. Speaker, I would want, since today is also Valentine's Day, to wish my beloved wife, Dr. Mrs. Vera Bayu, who I believe is at the eye clinic at Kolebu operating now, a happy Valentine's Day, a happy Chocolate Day, and say that we should all love and let us consume enough Ghanaian chocolate and cocoa for all the health benefits. The honorable member is asking me to say that cocoa can promote libido. I haven't said that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, let me give it to Honorable Member for Trouble.
Thank you.
Honorable Member, I'll give you a lot of time, please. So let's.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise to support a statement made by our colleagues. Mr. Speaker, as today is a vast day, we are expecting our men in this house, our brothers, our backbones, to show us some love. A reel of flowers and some chocolates to all the female in this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, and I thank you for making it snappy. Yes, let me go to my boss constituency, Honorable Anthony Suma. Yes. Gloria, put on. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statements made by my colleagues. Let me commend them for the statements they've made. Today is a day severally characterized. Chocolate Day, Day of Love. I was particularly enthused when two of them mentioned that we should show love to the less privileged. Chocolate Day, Day of Love should not be love we just share with our loved ones. The good book teaches us that if we do good to people who do good back to you, what benefit do you get? And we have less privilege amongst us. And then this house is particularly positioned uniquely to be able to influence or affect the life of the less privileged. I was happy when I chanced on a video by the Chief Executive Officer of the Mental Health Authority. And then she made a comment about using this day to show love to people suffering some form of mental illness. And I think that this month, February, and this particular day, we should look at the less privileged, particularly people suffering from mental health. The chief psychiatrist once said that about 2.3 million World Health Report, that about 2.3 million of Ghanaians are suffering from some form of mental illness. And the chief psychiatrist also once said that over 700,000 people in this country are suffering from some form of severe mental illness. That is a significant proportion of our population. So today presents a unique opportunity, and particularly that the Mental Health Authority celebrates this day and this month as Mental Health Month. I think that we should dedicate some time for mental health in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, the success or greatness of a society, if I will refer to Mahatma Gandhi, is measured by how we treat the weakest in the society. Let's not reduce this day to showing love to those that can show us love back. Let's think of those who don't have the ability, who don't have the means to show us love back. And talking about this, as I indicated, we have a very unique opportunity to affect the life of these people. This House passed a bill, the Mental Health Act. And the Mental Health Act, we indicated that there should be a mental health fund to help deal with mental health issues in this country. As I speak to you, that hasn't found expression yet. I had the opportunity one time to question the health minister on why we're not having the fund established. And he said that they were doing the necessary legislative work to get the fund established. Yet it is not. So on this day, I want to brief about this, but to say that let's look at the other perspective. Let's use this unique opportunity, particularly in February, to affect the life of people living with mental health challenges. Because by the proportions that have been put out,
it is very possible that even sitting here, we have people who are suffering from mental health. We all somehow have persons living with us or relations that have some mental health challenges. So today, I want to appeal to all my colleagues and everyone listening to us that let's use this opportunity to share the chocolates with people suffering from some form of mental health challenges. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. 1-1. So let me go to Etiwa West. I'll give you the opportunity, please. It's 1-1. Say one. It's 1-1. That's what I'm doing. Honorable members, that ratio has not been established. That ratio of 2:1 has not been established here. So once I sit here, it's still 1-1 by way of contribution. Honorable members, if leadership takes that decision, I'll go by it. But for now, it is 1-1. Yes, Honorable Etiwa West, let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Ghana is, as we all know, Ghana is the second largest producer of cocoa in the world. Cocoa is a major contributor to the economy. However, it does have some challenges: climate change, unpredictable weather, and also pests and diseases. So I'd like to take this opportunity today, as we're all munching the chocolate and enjoying the result of our cocoa farmers, that the Ministry of Agriculture, that the minister in charge of that ministry should continue the support that the NPP government was giving and providing to all the cocoa farmers and that sector. So I hope, I pray that that support would continue to all cocoa farmers, because in my constituency in Etiwa West, in the towns of Morso, Kwabeng, Abomosu, and Krakai, Akropong, Achime Kropong, Tumfa, Pameng, and all the other towns in the Tiwa West, we have thousands of cocoa farmers who toil every day and produce excellent beans. Everywhere in the world, it's well known that the Ghanaian cocoa bean is is excellent in terms of the way that is naturally dried and the process it goes through. So I'd like to take this opportunity today to thank all the farmers in the Tiwa West for their contribution to the economy and for making it available to produce such excellent products in the chocolate that we're enjoying today. So thank you to all the farmers, especially at Tiwa West, and to all the farmers in Ghana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, give me 2 minutes to acknowledge our children at the public gallery. I understand the majority deputy whip is going to extend the chocolate to them. Yes, so they are Oasis International School. They are being led by Abigail Asamanin, and he is the head teacher or head of the department. And the school is located at Lejokuku constituency. Lejokuku constituency. I guess the MPs here, Honorable Yuku. Anyway, so our children, you are welcome. I hope you are monitoring whatever is going on. Yes, that should urge you to study hard, so that tomorrow, if you are not there, you come and take over from us. Thank you, and you are welcome. So let me go to Honorable Samson Ahi. Yes, a cocoa growing area man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable
Mr. Speaker,
Samson. Yes.
for the opportunity to contribute to the three statements made by our colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I think today is a special day.
And especially it is.
And let me take this opportunity to wish all women in the Bodi constituency a happy Valentine's Day. And by extension, all women in Ghana, particularly women in this chamber, a happy Valentine's Day. Mr. Speaker, in all the statements, we are encouraged to consume more chocolate. I want to take it through the dimension of creating jobs when we eat a lot of chocolate. We have the cocoa processing company, which is responsible for producing chocolate. But the more we eat chocolate, we create jobs, we create wealth, we create opportunities for Ghanaians. We support the company to grow so that people can earn their livelihood. Mr. Speaker, I've observed one thing, and I want to recommend that anytime there is conference on the program, you will see coffee break. Coffee break. Today, as we are being encouraged to eat chocolate, I want to recommend that henceforth, in all our conferences on the programs, we should rather have cocoa break instead of coffee break, so that we will be encouraged to inculcate the consumption of cocoa in our people. Mr. Speaker, cocoa farmers, during the first tenure of President Mills, he initiated a lot of cocoa rows programs. Mr. Speaker, when he left office, cocoa rows that were supposed to be constructed were abandoned. If you go to my constituency, for instance, cocoa rows from Bodi to Ahibenso was abandoned. Cocoa rows from Amoya to Kalo was abandoned.
Honorable,
And I want to believe,
Honorable Deputy Minister Designate,
Mr. Speaker.
please don't take us to.
but we have been assured in our manifesto that President Mahama government is going to continue construction of cocoa rows in cocoa growing areas to support cocoa farmers so that it will improve their economy, to support them to do more so that Ghana can get more cocoa for export. Mr. Speaker, I think that cocoa has supported the economy of Ghana for a long time. And it is about the time that we took into account those who grow cocoa and then support them. Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of agricultural practices that Cocoa Board offers for cocoa farmers by supplying them with farm inputs, chemicals, and so on and so forth. I want to believe that as we celebrate Chocolate Day today, or Cocoa Day today, President Mahama, who introduced most of these farm practices, will continue so that
Thank
cocoa
you.
farmers, please,
Thank
I've
you.
spoken for only 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
10 minutes.
Three. So allow me, please, Mr. Speaker.
You've already taken 6 minutes. You
No,
are saying
no,
3
no, it's
minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay, you conclude. 2 minutes left.
You want to
You
conclude, Mr. Speaker? So, I want to, before I sit down, to say that all of us must embrace this important day so that it becomes part and parcel of us, and not to only buy or eat chocolate when it is Valentine's Day or when it is Cocoa Day, but we should make it as a way of, part of us, so that day in and day out, we try to buy chocolate so that it can improve our health, as it has been stated by some of the medical doctors, and then as highlighted by the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness, and Industry on the health benefits of eating cocoa. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank you and wish all of us a happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Okay, Honorable Stephen Amwa. I'll give all of you the opportunity, please. One here. Dr. Sandali, one here.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I would like to place emphasis on a few selected extracts from the good books, the Bible and the Quran, about love. Since today we are talking about love, chocolate, and anything that will unify us as a house to build this country with one purpose. Mr. Speaker, 1 John 4:8, 1 John 4:16, 1 Corinthians 13:13, Quran 85:14, they all talk about the fact that God is love. And even when it comes to hope, faith, and love, the Bible says that love overrides all these virtues. I think today is a special day that as parliamentarians, we need to have a special segment of our time resource to ponder over a lot of issues, to redefine a new relationship between minority and majority, and treat certain national issues with love that will benefit the young ones out there. Mr. Speaker, I think today is a day that all of us should develop a new form of love for the poor children out there. Our love should be shown and illustrated in what we say here, what we do in our various offices, as parliamentarians, as appointees, the resources that the state gives us, the kind of comments we make. Love is not just by words, but love is by action. So I'm saying that for today, I extend my special love to all the wives of the cocoa farmers in our country, to all the first ladies, former and the present first lady, and to all our beautiful women here, both minority and majority. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, this is not about whether I'm married or I'm not married. It is, I know marriage is important, but Ecclesiastes says that there is time for everything. So let us take our time. Mr. Speaker, I want to end. Mr. Speaker.
Please, why are you making Honorable Stephen Amwa unstable?
Mr. Speaker, I think this destructive interference of waves will impair the flow of the conversation when it comes to love, and admonish each of them to take their time
And I can assure them at the appropriate time, I will laugh. But before I sit down, Mr. Speaker, allow me to extend this to my mother, 100-year-old mother. She can't understand English. So with your indulgence, if I say me catch me, I say me don't know. Now, me wish you know, happy Valentine's Day. The last thing I want to say is that my brother from the other side, we are not debating, but I want to assure him that the continuity that they want to continue, we will support them to continue growing and expanding all factors that will ensure that our cocoa farmers and cocoa as industry will expand. But I want him to understand that the last 8 years, we did about 70,000 acres, I think acres or hectares, 40,000, we already finished. So it's something that they will continue. I know Honorable Eric, he's a good man, very intelligent, and they'll continue that. But apart from that, Mr. Speaker, God bless Ghana. God showers his blessings upon us. Let us love each other now and begin a new wave of love that the outsiders will follow us.
Thank you.
God bless you. God bless Ghana.
Thank you.
Love.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Let him give it to Kintampo South.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Please, I'll give all of you the opportunity. So.
Mr. Speaker.
But please, let's be snappy. You could see a lot of our colleagues who are all desirous to speak. So let's make it.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute the statement made by our ministers and our leader. Mr. Speaker, once we acknowledge the importance of Ghana cocoa contribution to the economy, let us not forget about our farmers who produce the cocoa on a special day like this. Mr. Speaker, I watched a documentary on CNN titled The Coconomics, in which a farmer couldn't even recognize chocolate. Mr. Speaker, so on this day, I wish and I want to tell our leaders and our ministers that, and appeal to them to find a way to reach out to the farmers on a day like this to also enjoy the taste of cocoa. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let me now go to Okre. Oh no, then it's Kwabri East. Honorable Unyina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to today's discussion. The National Chocolate Day is a very important day since it's also doubling up as the Valentine's Day, which is a day of love. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to extend my heartfelt love to the good people of Kwabri East, and also by extension to all the women and the market women of Kwabri East. And Mr. Speaker, in the same spirit as yourself, I'd like to also extend my heartfelt love and a happy Valentine's and Chocolate Day to my beautiful wife, Adia Pena Okosia Sewa Odo Jemfi, and also to my mom on this August day. Yes, Mr. Speaker, they say I should say it loud and clear. So to my beautiful wife, Adia Pena Akosia Sewa Odo Jemfi, I wish to extend my heartfelt love on this day. Mr. Speaker, we can't talk about National Chocolate Day without talking about cocoa. Cocoa plays a very important role in the daily economics of this country. And you know that cocoa has been a very important cash crop to Ghana. And by far, Ghana is touted as producing premium cocoa, and the cocoa is of premium quality. Mr. Speaker, however, the farmers and on all the people in the value chain, in my opinion, are not being looked at critically. And we have to, as a country, celebrate our heroes. And we have to celebrate these gallant farmers by looking at few areas and some areas that I would like us to go through. Mr. Speaker, for instance, in the area of pensions, cocoa farmers go through all these daily hassles of planting, harvesting, fermenting, bringing the produce to the mats and drying them. And even in the stand, at the stage where they are about to sell, they go through a serious time because some of these purchasing clerks have adjusted their skills so much that it is to the detriment of the cocoa farmer. And so we need to recognize them. And at the end of the day, after they have gone through all this and they have retired, they have gone through after 60, 70, and they are no longer able to go to the farms and produce, there is no pension for them. The cocoa farmers, if you go and look at a farmer who has planted cocoa for 20, 30, 40 years, and the person goes into pension, it's quite an eyesore. Mr. Speaker, another issue that we have to also concentrate on is illegal mining. Mr. Speaker, our yield has been dropping for the past 3 years because of the encroachment of illegal mining on our cocoa farms. And you see, it gets to a point that even farmers who are not willing to cede their farms to illegal miners are forced in a way to give their farms off because of the illicit operations, to the extent that it gets to a point that they cannot even get access to their farms. And we need to ensure that this thing is stopped. Otherwise, in the near future, we are going to have a situation where farmers will be at a detriment and Ghana cocoa will fall drastically. Mr. Speaker, let's also have a look at our input side and also improvement of yields. Mr. Speaker, there has been some programs like CORE, Cocoa Rehabilitation and Improvement Program, and also the hand pollination that was started by the previous government, that were very important catalysts that were leading to improvement and increase in cocoa, the production of cocoa. Mr. Speaker, we need to go back to these basics and ensure that, we also had the cocoa mass spraying and all this stuff. We need to go back to these basics. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the cocoa price now in the world market is around $10,000 per ton. And I think we are in the right space to ensure that we give enough to our farmers. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Concentrate on sustainability. Thank you so much.
Let me give it to Honorable Afo. I'm coming. Yes, Honorable Afo. Sir, you also come from cocoa growing area. Let's hear you. Honorable Onyina, please put off your mic. Yes, you can now.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to make a contribution to the 3 statements that has been made today on the floor. Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me wish all Ghanaians a happy Chocolate Day and a vast day as well. Most of you should go to the Amenfi West, Sanobe Cocoa District, Azingwa Cocoa District. Mr. Speaker, let me put on records that out of 276 constituencies, my constituency leads the cocoa production in this country. So I use this occasion to wish them very well and bless them and tell them that, Mr. Speaker, most of their problems, respect the cocoa production in this country, more especially in Amenfi West, will be solved as early as possible. Mr. Speaker, respect to cocoa rows, I know I've been asked a lot of questions.
So I'm not cutting you short. The Minister for Rules is just looking at you with a smile. So I know your rules.
Mr. Speaker, free supply of fertilizer, I think it will be in place. Enough chemicals for cocoa mass production and the cocoa price as well. Mr. Speaker, the reason I've stood up is let's use this day to revamp the internal marketing of cocoa in this country. I'm talking about the license buying companies. Most of them are down because of how they were treated by the previous governments. So as we speak today, produced by a company is down, Fedco is down, Ejumapa is down, Cocoa Merchant is down, and a lot of it. Mr. Speaker, what is more particular about this is that these licensed by cocoa companies, they help to grow the rural economy in this country. So when they are down, it means that the rural economy is broken. So let's use this day to revamp the cocoa sector, the internal marketing of cocoa. Most of the people they are at home, the employees, they are not unemployed. Let's look at PVC now. So Speaker, I'll not speak so much than to say that let us use this day to revamp the internal marketing of cocoa so that our rural economy will grow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. I think when I get to Honorable Minister for Agric, he will address those pertinent areas that Honorable Afo talked about. Yes, let me go to Manson Kwanta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'll use this opportunity to extend my greetings to the good people of Manson Kwanta, many of whom are cocoa farmers, and I'm sure they are watching me. They've been watching our programs these days. Mr. Speaker, I also take this opportunity confidently to extend my love to my beautiful wife, Belinda Foucault, who is a staff of Bank of Africa. I know some are not happy. So, Belinda Foucault, my regards to you. I love you so much. Mr. Speaker, Valentine's Day has come to stay, and even the anticipation of it is just exciting. When 14th of February is coming, the news, the media space, everywhere, it gets exciting. So just anticipating it gets interesting. Mr. Speaker, allow me to use this opportunity to also commend our legend, Honorable Jake Obechebi-Lamte, for rebranding the Valentine's Day as Chocolate Day. I think that was a great innovation he did, and I commend him for that. Mr. Speaker, I would want to ask that we, the people of Ghana, we use this day to do other things besides the love of sharing chocolates and exchanging pleasantries. Could we look at using this day of love, to call for the feuding factions in areas where we have hostilities in this country, to consider this day of love to lay down their arms? The day that we are celebrating love, at least for that day, can they sit face to face, or can they mediate using this day of love to bring peace to the pockets of areas where we have challenges in this country, being it Boko, being it Hohoi, wherever that we have challenges? Could we use the benefit of this beautiful day to bring peace in these pockets of areas? Again, Mr. Speaker, being intentional with this day, could we, just like we've had the tourism ministry doing its best to rebrand Christmas in Ghana as a day for people across the world to come and spend Christmas with us here, could we look at doing a similar thing so that Ghana, which is the second largest producer of cocoa, becomes a hub for chocolates during Valentine's Day? So people around the world will be excited that on the 14th of February, let's all go to Ghana to enjoy chocolate. And it should be chocolate that is made in Ghana. So, Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is let's be intentional with it. If Germany has what we call Oktoberfest, where people go sit together to drink beer, and this attracts tourists around the world, then Ghana, which has this commodity with all its health benefits, could be rebranded to make Ghana also a hub for chocolate. And we can also have a chocolate fest, just like Germany has their Oktoberfest.
Thank you.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let him go to Pusiga. Let him go to Pusiga.
Congratulations and bye-bye to all those who take chocolate. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, you have seen that I've continuously agitated and tried to come up and say something about chocolate. I have overheard some colleagues just jokingly say that you don't produce cocoa in the northern sector or something. But suffice me to say, we are talking,
just ignore them.
yes,
Address the chair.
I'm only making it some fun for us to all enjoy it, because today is a day that we should all be happy and cherish one another. Mr. Speaker, originally it was called St. Valentine's Day, and it has been used for so many other things. In this same chamber, around 2015-16, we discussed and agreed that let us also incorporate something that would move Ghana forward and enhance our economic values. So what we thought and discussed was our chocolate. Let us ask ourselves, Mr. Speaker, what have we done since then to actually ensure that the discussions that we had, we have implemented it? There are a lot of people in this country, especially the northern sector, Upper East, Upper West, Northern region, and what have you. They don't even know how the cocoa pod is, not to talk of the beans and to talk of whatever we can get out of it, like chocolate. We had agreed that with the school feeding, due to the benefits, even if it's half a bar that is being produced, to also let them have that feel, see what is referred to as chocolate. We should be able to do that, even if it's once a week. We said all these things, we haven't done any of it. We continuously carry our cocoa out. Sometimes we hear about trafficking of cocoa, carrying it out, and what have you. And we want to get value, money, economic benefits. I think we need to rethink and make sure that our factories work more and that our children grow to appreciate what we are talking about. We are lucky, maybe some of us, especially from where cocoa is not grown, but I know that there are peoples or some people from the cocoa growing areas who have never tasted chocolate, because the cost of a bar of chocolate just in the market, what has been distributed here, is so high that individuals around there who do not have that money may use that money for their ingredients and other things rather than buy chocolate. What are we doing about it? Are we going to ensure that not only the cocoa growing areas, but also other areas that cocoa is not grown, on days like this, our farmers, especially the women and children, have a feel of it? Colleagues have mentioned the love that we need to show on this day. That love is not for the way people have perceived it today, like running around and saying, excuse my language, my boyfriend has not given me this, my husband has not given this, my husband. No, it's a love that you need to show to individuals who do not have that opportunity. Let us go out there, let us see what is happening, especially those who have mental problems, as mentioned earlier on. Mr. Speaker, if you go out there, it's a pity. Some of them stand like stooges. Some of them walk and fall. You simply don't understand. Let us extend that love to them and share whatever we have today with them. And I think it will go a long way to help all of us and for us to realize what is referred to as St. Valentine's Day. With this, Mr. Speaker, I extend my love to all my colleagues in this parliament, both men and women, all Ghanaians, everyone alive, that with St. Valentine's, we love everyone. And I wish us all the best. And for this day, we live together and then we share together. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Speaker.
you very much. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I would like to first of all use the opportunity to thank the maker of the statements and also wish my constraint, that is Nalerabo Gamba constituency, a happy chocolate day. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is seen as the second largest producer of cocoa. But if you go to some of these cocoa producing communities, you will realize that these communities are lacking basic amenities. The poor farmer who goes to the farm every day, work day and night to get the cocoa beans, the children of the poor farmer and the poor farmer himself or herself does not get the basic amenities to enjoy in the community. Basic amenities like water. You go to some of these cocoa producing communities, good drinking water is a problem for some of these farmers. You also realize that the cocoa farmer children do not go to school because some of these communities, you can't even find a primary school for the cocoa farmer child to go to school. So, Mr. Speaker, as a country, we have to look at that aspect to improve the life of the cocoa farmer and the families. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the contribution that this industry is making to our economic growth, but a lot of it is going through illegal ways. That is smuggling. A lot of our cocoa beans has been smuggled. So I would like to call on the relevant authorities, especially the Ghana Cocoa Board and the security agencies, to take this seriously. If not that day in, day out, cocoa is being smuggled out of the country. Mr. Speaker, if we also look at the price of cocoa products, it's making it difficult for the ordinary Ghanaian to enjoy the cocoa product. Mr. Speaker, this one, in certain shops, they sell this one 20 Ghana cedi. Some sell it 18 Ghana cedi. Mr. Speaker, the poor man on the streets, how can he afford 20 Ghana cedi on this particular day to enjoy this particular chocolate? So as a country, we have to look at this aspect and add value to our cocoa products before exporting. Because some of this chocolate, the cocoa beans will be exported outside, they will produce the chocolate and import it back to us. At the end of the day, the price will be so high for the ordinary Ghanaian to purchase. Mr. Speaker, I would like to call on the Agric Minister to also look at the other sectors of the economy. That's the share nuts. In as well, we are talking about cocoa. If you go to the northern part of the country, Savannah region, Upper East, Upper West, Northeast region, especially my constituency, Nalero Gamba constituency, there are a lot of share trees there. But it's like attention has not been paid to this particular share tree. I want to call on the Agric Minister and the relevant authorities. Let's give attention to this particular sector. It's a sector that a lot of women are involved. And you know, most of the women are very vulnerable. But when we give attention to this sector, these women will get a better living condition by engaging in the share industry. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you so much. Yes, my brother, let me hear you. Honorable members, after this, I will take Yes, let me hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statements ably made by the Trades Minister, the Minister for Tourism, and then the first Deputy Majority Whip on the vast day and the chocolate day. Mr. Speaker, we have to relook at the celebration of the day like this because the youth of Ghana are giving a different meaning to the originality of the day which we are forcefully celebrating now in this nature. Unfortunately, the youth of today see Valentine's Day as a day of slaughtering something without a name. And then by the end of the day like this, the day ends up slaughtering them and they go nowhere. Mr. Speaker, you will not be surprised that by tomorrow and a year by this time, a lot of things will happen this night. That will be issues to reckon with in the years ahead of us, which they will be thinking, had I known. So on this very important day, let me use the opportunity to admonish our youth that the great St. Valentine made this day for good, at least for platonic relationships, not for erotic ones. Again, as we celebrate this beautiful day, may we be reminded that day in and day out, the day comes, we celebrate it, it goes down, and nobody talks about it. Would it be possible as a house, a very august house like that which we have, to relook at just the celebration of it and to put in measures that may allow us to have special events to celebrate or commemorate when a day like this comes a year by this time, so that, Mr. Speaker, if it is possible, maybe members of parliament may be allowed, if it happens to be a working day like this for us, to go to our various districts and have it celebrated with our people, just like I want to post-date my own in two communities on Monday, Talibania and Tehi, so that we may use the day to educate the youth that it is not about a bedroom matter, but an issue of conscience, to remember that we must express love towards one another without strings attached. I am sure when we put in that education, the youth will revise their notes. As I was driving to work this morning, looking at the street, everywhere is choked. If you look on my phone, the messages on my phone massive. And everybody, today is Valentine's. our love, I mean the normal love and not that one they are thinking. Our love, I mean the normal love and not that one they are thinking. That will end up leading them where they are not supposed to be. Mr. Speaker, with this, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And to wish my beautiful wife, Ompombese, Mrs. a happy birthday and to say, Akosia, I'm coming home, wait for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm looking at, I think, Kendall.
Giving me the opportunity to also make my contribution towards the celebration of Love Chocolate Day, and for that matter, Cocoa Day. Mr. Speaker, Ghana had depended on cocoa for a very long time and was the leading producer until we were overtaken by La Côte d'Ivoire. That notwithstanding, we still produce the best cocoa in the whole world. So it is incumbent upon us to ensure that we continue to play a very significant role in the production of cocoa. Mr. Speaker, these days, we are having serious challenges with our cocoa production. The youth that we want to encourage to go into cocoa production are gradually running away from that industry. It is the old men and women who still manage our cocoa farms, and as they grow old and they are not getting the younger ones to take over from them, we risk still losing our position to other countries. The governments over the years have been trying hard to provide the necessary incentives to make cocoa production viable and attractive, but the challenges still persist. Now that we're also having challenges about our environment, cocoa is a special tree that requires some shade, and it needs vegetation. And with the current destruction of our forests, if we don't take pragmatic steps to ensure that we continue to have our forests preserved, we may end up one day losing our second position to other countries. We have research services, we have extension services, and we have other incentives that our governments have been providing. But we also need to go beyond that and ensure that the vagaries of the weather may not continue to be detrimental to the production of cocoa. We need to do a little more and education on how to preserve our my sincerest thanks.
Honorable members, let me give the lady, Reverend Intoso. Reverend Intoso. I think that will be the last one. Then,
Thank you.
Then I will come to leadership. Then I'll give the last opportunity to the minister to at least give us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. As we're talking about love, I want to go a bit spiritual, biblical love. The Bible says in 1 John 4, verse 20, that if anyone says, I love God and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen cannot love God whom he has not seen. So, Mr. Speaker, on this day, as we're celebrating St. Valentine, a martyr, I just want to remember and speak to colleagues that this day is the spiritual meaning of Valentine. It's about recognizing the power of love as a transformative force in our lives, celebrating the positive connections we have with others and acknowledging those connections. We've got to extend the love that we have, not for only our family members, not only for our friends, but we should also consider the needy, the downtrodden, that in celebrating this day, we should not forget about them. The former president promised school children, giving them a chocolate, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. I pray that with the coming of our minister, Honorable Eric, cocoa farmers will be given the desired help so that they'll be able to produce more, so that children in this country, parents who cannot even afford to buy chocolate for their children, will have the opportunity to also have a taste of the chocolate that we are producing in this country. Mr. Speaker, I also want to say that the men who stood up, recognizing their wives and sending them messages, my prayer is that all the men who are married, if you leave here today, go straight home. Go straight home and show your love. Show your love to your wives. Don't just say it in the chamber here. Go straight home and celebrate your wives so that they know that you actually appreciate them. The women as well. Go straight home, appreciate your husbands, show them love, show your children love. Don't forget your parents, don't forget your mothers and your fathers. On this day, celebrate them. Mr. Speaker, let me also use this opportunity to express my deepest appreciation to my husband for his I'll go home. His unflinching love. Reverend Dr. Kingsford Asamoah, I appreciate your love, and I pray that what has happened tonight. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. May the good Lord bless you.
Thank you very much. Now let him come to leadership. I hope you are yielding yours too. Okay, senior, let me hear you. Senior, one minute, let me hear you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this rare opportunity. First, we have to congratulate all the three makers of this statement, and they were all women. Clearly shows that love matters to women a lot. But on this day, as we celebrate it as a chocolate day, I believe that Ghana's love should go to our cocoa farmers all across the country, and also to encourage the young ones to enter into the cocoa business. Mr. Speaker, I believe that some of the issues that have come up over here about our cocoa farmers is the value we give them for the work they do in the cocoa industry. Mr. Speaker, if we take the industry in Ghana, it's just around $3 billion. Meanwhile, the world value of cocoa processed is about 140 billion, going into 170 billion. Clearly, I believe that we need to change the equation, how we create value for our cocoa farmers. First, I do believe that we need to start looking at ways of making sure that all the cocoa we produce in Ghana are processed fully in Ghana, not just semi-processed, fully processed in Ghana. And we should look at ways of giving Ghana's cocoa free to the producers, and we taking a profit, a percentage of the profit from the manufacturers. If, for instance, we give the cocoa and then their profit is about, say, 20 billion, we can get 10 billion instead of getting 3 billion. Instead of this business of selling it at low value to them, and then we don't get anything. And when we are able to create that value, we should be able to pass a lot of it on to our cocoa farmers so that more people will gain more in the cocoa industry and they'll be ready to invest more in the cocoa farms. Because in situations where cocoa farmers are known to be selling their cocoa farms to Galamsey people and then reducing the production of cocoa in a lot of villages all across the country, I believe that we should have a market mechanism to make sure that they see more value in cocoa farming than the other way around.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Speaker.
Thank
you
you
very much.
Thank you. Yes. Now I'll come to leadership.
Oh, if you want to talk, or you are sitting to him.
Leader.
Yes, Ashu, or you. So.
You were granted one day, and I signal to you that then you should grant 1 year.
I know, but I'll give Honorable Opoku, a lot of time too. So that is why. Yes, to respond to all the issues. So Honorable Jerry, just conclude.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, on this very special day, which is the 14th of February, 2025, Mr. Speaker, I want to wish my one and only very sweet wife, Josephina Abna Shaib, a happy Valentine's Day. And Mr. Speaker, unlike those who are making noise that I should go home, I will go home. Mr. Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to wish my mother, Giftina Aduanunu, the one who gave birth to me, a special love. I want to wish her a happy Valentine's Day. And Mr. Speaker, there are 3 solid women who are doing very marvelous things in my constituency, in Wejagbawe. One is Apostle Lillian Kuma. She is in charge of Disciples of Christ Ministry. Mr. Speaker, you know what she's doing? She's showing a lot of love, affection, and care to the less privileged. She's doing this also in support with the Wejamanye, Na Amakuma, and Bawe Manye, Na Yaniede. I wish them all a happy Valentine's Day, and to just express my love and gratitude to them. Mr. Speaker, not forgetting my beautiful children. I just want them to understand that Daddy loves them very much. Mr. Speaker, beyond all of this, I am a beneficiary of the Cocoa Board Scholarship. And I know what cocoa has done for this nation. Mr. Speaker, we must continue to support the processing of cocoa and also push policies that would benefit this nation for the very important promotion and innovation of cocoa and cocoa, the benefits that come out from cocoa. Mr. Speaker, we need to strengthen infrastructure, enhance the capacity of farmers. We also need to offer incentives to local manufacturers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we also need to come to the understanding that we need value addition within our country, which will promote and preserve job opportunities, which will also create wealth and also solidify Ghana's reputation as one of the major leaders in the cocoa value chain. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, as we celebrate today the National Chocolate Day, let us recognize that there are far-reaching impact of processing cocoa in Ghana, and I'm very excited to see the Agric Minister here. Mr. Speaker, it is a sector that strengthens our economy. It enhances our global competitiveness and provides sustainable livelihoods for many Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, I urge all stakeholders, including the government, industrial players, or the industry players, farmers, to continue working together to ensure that Ghana maximizes the full potential of its cocoa industry for generations to come. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
I thank you very much for allowing me to make this statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let me now come to the majority leadership.
Mr. Speaker, since it's a National Cocoa Day, I would like to yield the leadership contribution to the Minister.
The minister will get his own opportunity.
Oh, Minister will get his own opportunity.
Yeah, so that is why I said just conclude, then I will
And
give
I
the
will
final
Okay,
slot to the
then,
minister.
Honorable Mintayako
Very well.
will take the slot because he wanted to make a contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to
So
World
it's
Chocolate Day
Kiko
and
South
Valentine's Day.
now
Kiko
yielding to
North.
Kiko's North.
Yes, please.
Oh, I see.
Right. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate all cocoa farmers in Ghana and beyond. The reason is that they've been very pivotal when it comes to cocoa production across the world. If indeed the consumption of cocoa is on the increase, then there's the need for the government of Ghana to also look at how we can push in some investment towards more cocoa production. Today we are talking about Valentine's Day. And then I'm also looking at the cost of the celebration of Valentine's Day. In America, when it's Valentine's Day, families share flowers, they share candies, and they also share cards. When you come to Ghana, and it's Valentine's Day, it is not the act of giving, it's the act of mandatory requirement that you need to make sure you honor. Mr. Speaker, I think that Valentine is the act of giving. And if indeed is the act of giving, the giver is supposed to provide what they can willingly give to that individual. So if I can afford a chocolate, and today we are talking about chocolate, Ghanaians who are supposed to be recipients should also get chocolate. Instead, they will give you a list of items you need to buy for Valentine's Day. And this is raising a lot of concerns. If some of them are not able to fulfill, yes, they give you a prospectus. If you are not able to fulfill, Mr. Speaker, that becomes problematic. There are so many relationships that are breaking up because of requests for Valentine's Day celebration. Mr. Speaker, I want us to appreciate the fact that Valentine is only about the art of giving. It is not the art of taking. And as much as possible, we should also look at how Parliament will be able to direct where at such occasions we'll visit orphanages, we'll visit hospitals, we'll visit areas where our art of giving will have very big impact. Mr. Speaker, let me add my voice to the other contributors who are certain that indeed we need to be looking at psychiatric hospitals, we need to be looking at orphanages, we need to be looking at maternity homes, and any area where our art of giving would have that particular accession. And I think when we do that, we'll be able to give more than to take more. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Well. At least I've taken from you, Valentine is the act of giving, not an act of demanding. Very well. So let's hear from the minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statements on the floor of the House. Mr. Speaker, today is a Valentine's Day, a day for the expression of love. And we in Ghana chose to celebrate the National Chocolate Day today to coincide with the Valentine's Day so that we can use chocolates to express love because of the benefits, the enormous benefits that we derive from the consumption of chocolate. I wanted to do that to promote consumption of chocolate in this country. Mr. Speaker, the benefits are enormous. We are told that it lowers blood pressure, prevents liver damage, boosts good cholesterol, keeps your heart healthy, boosts brain power, and makes you feel good.
And so, as a way of expressing love, we share chocolate among ourselves. And that is why the day is a unique day. But while celebrating, it is important for us to pause and reflect on the chocolate industry globally and in Ghana here, and also look at the key ingredient that goes into the production of chocolate in this world, in Ghana, for instance. Mr. Speaker, in the global environment, the global chocolate industry is estimated around 119 billion United States dollars in 2023, and it is estimated to grow at 4.1% between 2024 and 2030. But unfortunately, Africa's share in this huge market, this multi-billion industry, chocolate industry, African share is just 1%. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the production of raw cocoa beans, Africa contributes 70% of cocoa production in the world, 70%. But when it comes to the chocolate industry, our share is just 1%. Now, when you come home to Ghana, here in Ghana, Ghana is the second largest producer of cocoa in the whole world, globally, the largest producer of cocoa. But the only cocoa processing company that is owned partially by government of Ghana is the cocoa processing company. The cocoa processing company of Ghana, has a processing capacity of 64,500 tons. But in 2023, they processed just 6,614 tons. And in 2024, they processed just 2,886 tons. Mr. Speaker, the company is now operating far, far, far below its capacity. And it's no wonder that in the first half of 2024, they recorded a debt of $9.5 million US. So clearly, the processing company is on the verge of collapse. And this is attributable to lack of cocoa beans. The second largest producer of cocoa in the world is unable to supply enough cocoa beans to its processing company. That is the paradox. That is the paradox. And so there's the need for us to look at how we can increase cocoa production in this country. Mr. Speaker.
Minister, hold on. I didn't want to do that, but you probably, yes.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I am rising on Order 64.3. Order 64.3. A member may draw the attention of the person presiding at any time during a sitting. That members present in the House constitute less than 1/3 of the number of all the members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, when you count the number of people in the House now, we are not up to the constitutional requirement of 1/3 of the members. Mr. Speaker, we are not up to 1/3 of the constitutional requirement. And for that matter, I am drawing your attention to the effect that we do not form quorum. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, whilst a member is invoking Standing Order 64, I'm not even ignoring it, but we will go through the procedure, the process. So, Honorable Minister, you can go on whilst I ask. You've invoked so allow me to, I know what I'm doing. Whilst I ask the table to ring the bell. So, Honorable Minister,
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to continue. Mr. Speaker, I said that Cocoa Processing Company of Ghana is unable to produce up to capacity, largely because of lack of cocoa beans. And I was lamenting over the paradoxical situation where the second largest producer of cocoa is unable to deliver beans for processing in its own country. Mr. Speaker, this comes to cocoa production. And honorable members who earlier on contributed alluded to the need for us to look at how we can increase cocoa production. Mr. Speaker, the first point raised by one of our colleagues from the other side had to do with the producer price of cocoa. His view was that we should give the cocoa farmers competitive prices to motivate them to produce more cocoa so that we can have enough to feed our processing factories. I agree perfectly with our colleague, and this is some of the issues we have raised over the years. Mr. Speaker, at any point in time, the cocoa farmer must be given not less than 60% of the world market price. And you recall that I have stated this here more than 1 million times, especially when we realize that in the past years, especially last year, cocoa farmers were being given 30% of the FOB price. We spoke against that. We spoke against that and stated categorically that given the opportunity, will ensure that farmers are given more than 60% of the world market price. And Mr. Speaker, the former Western Regional Minister,
Please. Don't say that. Withdraw that, please.
And Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, my response is this. We are fully determined to give cocoa farmers more than 60%. We want to give them 70%. But they know they have set a trap for us. The trap is that in their handing over notes, they indicated that the cocoa board owes their creditors an amount of 27 billion Ghana cedis. And that 5.37 billion cedis is due for payment this year. Mr. Speaker, what that means is that this year, if you get the money, set aside 5.37 billion to pay for the debt before you proceed to determine the producer price of cocoa. That is what they have bequeathed to us. And so it is surprising. It is surprising that after creating this mess, you have the courage to mount pressure on us to increase producer price today, while at the same time, you are urging us to go and pay debt. Mr. Speaker, I am making a contribution to statements, but because he invited me to respond to that, I decided to seize this opportunity to let them know that if Ghanaian cocoa farmers are unable to get the 70% they deserve, it is because of their huge debt that they have given to us. They have created it. Then again, Mr. Speaker, they talk about, one of them raised the issue about produce buying company. And I remember you said, when it gets to my turn, I shall respond to that.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, yes, the produce buying company, as we speak, is on its knees. It is completely dead. And we have to do a lot of things to bring it back to life. In 2016, when we handed over to them, it was prosperous and vibrant. In 2015, PBC made profit, and part of the profit was invested in the rehabilitation of golden beans in Kumasi. As of what you know, golden beans. To rehabilitate that. Mr. Speaker, within the last 8 years, PBC has been reduced to nothing, to the extent that in the past 2 years, they were unable to buy 1 bag of cocoa for this nation. PBC was the largest purchaser of cocoa in Ghana in 2016. They purchased 30.1%.
Honorable, I thought you would just explain without
actually I'm responding to
moving into politics. It's like we're debating now. It's like we are debating now.
Mr. Speaker, I was just responding to the issues raised by our colleagues, and then also profess solutions to solve the very challenges they
Okay,
are lamenting over.
let me hear Honorable Member for Damango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what is before us this afternoon is a statement. A statement has been made about St. Valentine's Day and chocolate. Mr. Speaker, it is pursuant to this statement which is resulted in members contributing to the statement. And Mr. Speaker, our standing orders are very clear on this matter. The standing orders is very clear that a statement should not elicit a debate. And contribution to debate, contribution to statement should also not elicit debate. Mr. Speaker, what the Honorable Minister has been doing is really raising very contentious issues. And so, Mr. Speaker, we will respectfully call upon you to have the minister be guided and not make comments which will elicit a debate. There will be an opportunity for that. I will be ready to have the debate with them. So, Mr. Speaker, let him be guided.
Thank you very much. In actual fact, I decided to ask him to sit down, listen to all the comments, because most of the comments were directed towards his ministry, so that he can also try to address some of them. But please, whilst addressing them, just be guided not to actually move into it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these are issues, as you rightly said, raised by our colleagues. And there's a need for us to indicate to them measures we are putting in place to address them. But for them to have a better appreciation of the measures, they must know the true state now, so that they will all agree that these measures are good measures to address them. Mr. Speaker, somebody also spoke about cocoa roast. This is a serious matter that we are looking at. Cocoa roast. The argument advanced was that to be able to increase cocoa production, we have to fix all the roads leading to cocoa growing areas. This is a statement made by one of our colleagues from the other side. Mr. Speaker, you recall that in 2017, when the MPP assumed office, one of the issues that became topical in our country here and was discussed extensively throughout all the media outlets had to do with cocoa roast. Because at that time, we had awarded contracts amounting to 5.1 billion Ghana cedis. And based on this, a committee was established to audit all cocoa roasts in Ghana here to ascertain whether there was value for money in the award of those contracts. Mr. Speaker, it will surprise you to note that in the handing over notes, we are told that cocoa roasts awarded in the last 8 years amounted to 21 billion Ghana cedis. And Mr. Speaker, government is recommending that we do what they call rationalization. And when we asked them during the transition, their explanation was that by rationalization, they are saying that we should terminate, we should repackage, and then re-award. Mr. Speaker, the problem on our hand today is that we have over-awarded the contracts, and Cocoa Board does not have the capacity to pay. So now they are asking us in the handing over notes to do rationalization. And then rationalization has begun. So very soon, some of these contracts will be re-looked at and then terminated to ensure that we make progress in the field of cocoa roast. But the assurance we are giving to members is that we will sanitize the process and ensure that roasts in cocoa growing areas alone are fixed with monies from cocoa.
Thank you.
Then the last point that I have to respond to has to do with cocoa production. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, you recall that one of our colleagues made mention of cocoa production, which has increased to 6,000 something. I was asking whether he's speaking from a different world or what. I was wondering, he knows what he's talking about. Cocoa production increasing. Mr. Speaker, cocoa production peaked in 2021, 47,000 tons. Unprecedented, 1,047,000 tons. But as you speak, it's around 500,000 tons. 500,000 tons. The lowest in the past 2 decades was recorded in 2024. And so what we have to do now is to come out with policies that will ensure rejuvenation of the cocoa sector, to reset the entire cocoa sector, increase cocoa production so that we can maximize the benefits for our cocoa farmers. Much for the opportunity. This is a great day. It's a day that we have to show love. Chocolates have been distributed to members, and our expectation is that members will also share the chocolate we have given them to their wives, their children, their constituents, and then all the other things that they can talk about. On this note,
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honorable members, my younger brother raised an issue, raised a quorum, but my time is not up. My time is not up. So we take the last statement. We take the last statement from Honorable James Jachikwesin on Black History Month. Black History Month. Honorable James Jachikwesin, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to elaborate on the Black History Month. Mr. Speaker, I'm very honored to have the opportunity to commemorate Black History Month, a time to celebrate the achievements, struggles, and contribution of Black. I want to thank the good people of Asin North for entrusting me once again to represent and serve them. Mr. Speaker, Black History Month allows us to reflect on the perceived history, slavery, institutional racism, and the ongoing fight for equality. I am inspired by immense contribution of Black leaders like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, our own Barack Obama, and a host of others, whose efforts have shaped history and inspired progress. Mr. Speaker, Africa, despite being rich in natural resources, remains paradoxically underdeveloped due to centuries of exploitation, colonization, and unfair global systems. Our continent was stripped of global systems. Our continent was stripped of resources and labor, which fueled the advancement of other nations while leaving us impoverished. Even today, economic dependency and the influence of global financial institutions continue to hinder Africa's progress. I believe Black History Month is a call to action, Mr. Speaker. It reminds us of the need for unity among Black people worldwide, both on the continent and in the diaspora. We must strive for self-sufficiency, ethical leadership, and collective responsibility. By learning from the past and building solidarity, we can right the wrongs of history and create a future of hope, dignity, and empowerment for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, this year's celebration of Black History Month carried a powerful message of unity, resilience, and progress for the people of African descent across the world. It reminded us that the African story is one of triumph in the face of adversity, of collective strength, and of an enduring vision for a brighter future. As the world celebrated the contribution of our ancestors and contemporaries to global history, Ghana reaffirmed its position as the gateway to Africa, a home for all people of African descent, wherever they may be. Mr. Speaker, the year of return in 2019, followed by the Beyond the Return initiative, became monumental in positioning Ghana as a welcoming home for African Americans and the global diaspora. This initiative not only reignited cultural connections, but also brought tangible economic benefits, with tourism contributing significantly to our GDP. Mr. Speaker, African Americans and the global diaspora have made substantial investment in Ghana's economy, particularly in real estate, hospitality, tourism, and many other sectors, further strengthening Ghana's position as a leading destination for cultural tourism. These contributions have created jobs, boosted local businesses, and fostered global networking opportunities, all of which are vital to our national development. Mr. Speaker, for far too long, the issue of dual citizenship has clouded our political discourse, dividing us when we should be united. I'm a firm believer that Ghanaians in the diaspora, our brothers and sisters scattered across the globe, are not only part of our national story, but an integral part of our future. Their expertise, their investments, and their patriotism are invaluable. I stand here not as a victim of political challenges, but as a testament to the resilience of every Ghanaian who believes in the power of democracy and justice. Mr. Speaker, the fight against dual citizenship, restrictions, and political ambition is not a personal battle, but a national conversation. Our Constitution, while a beacon of democracy, must evolve to reflect the global realities of our people. How do we marginalize those who have sought better opportunities abroad, yet remain deeply connected to Ghana? How do we exclude them from leadership when their hearts, skills, and resources are dedicated to building our nation? Mr. Speaker, it is important that we expedite action on this passage of the Dual Citizenship Amendment Bill to remove these restrictions and create a more inclusive governance framework. The bill represents a critical step in acknowledging the contributions of Ghanaians in the diaspora and ensuring that they have equal opportunities to participate in our democratic processes. I therefore urge this August House to lend its full support to the bill when it tables it again. Together, let us take this bold step towards inclusivity and progress. Mr. Speaker, as we deliberate on policies and development strategies, let us embrace the vision of our noble President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as outlined in the NDC manifesto, the Black Star Experience. This initiative will not only serve as Ghana's flagship brand for culture, arts, and tourism, but it will redefine and reaffirm national identity while attracting investments, creating jobs, and boosting tourism. It includes a year-round celebration in arts, film, fashion, literature, and more, strengthening ties with the African diaspora, including the Caribbean, and positioning Ghana as the cultural hub of Africa. The initiative will enhance tourism revenues, foster transfers, support local businesses, and drive economic and creative innovations across the country. Mr. Speaker, in recent years, Ghana has become a beacon of hope and opportunity for many Africans, diasporans, and other nationals who have chosen to call our country home. By extending citizenship to them, we are acknowledging their immense contribution to our society economically, culturally, and socially. Many of these individuals have decades of professional experience, global networks, resources, and valuable perspectives that can benefit our governance and institutions. Mr. Speaker, as we welcome them as citizens, we must also recognize the potential for their political aspiration. Leadership is not confined to nationality by birth, but defined by the ability to serve, to innovate, and to uplift communities. These new citizens are now inseparable part of our Ghanaian story, and their ambition should not be stifled by celebrated as part of the diversity and richness of our democracy. Mr. Speaker, this moment calls on us to rethink the structures of inclusivity to our governance. If we as a nation are bold enough to welcome them as citizens, then we must be equally bold in creating pathways for the active participation in shaping Ghana's future, including in political leadership. Their global experience combined with the commitment to Ghana can only strengthen our democracy and accelerate our development. Mr. Speaker, the journey ahead is long and the road will not always be smooth. But I pledge to work relentlessly to ensure that no Kenyan feels left out of our national vision, whether they live in Accra, Kumasi, Asen North, New York, or Toronto. Today, we can redefine what it means to be a Ghanaian. Create a nation where everyone has a stake and build a future that our children will be proud of. Let us not be deterred by the challenges of today, for they are but stepping stones to a greater tomorrow. Let us work together to create and reset our nation again where opportunities are abundant, justice is unwavering, security is assured to every Ghanaian, regardless of their circumstances, can dream, achieve, and strive. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Let me firstly go to Damango. Honorable Quayson, can you put off the mic? Very well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to this very important statement ably made by the Member of Parliament for Asin North. The Speaker, Black peoples have traveled a long journey, and indeed, from the days of slavery to colonialism, all through to the days of civil rights, and through to the struggle for independence and post-independence struggles of nation building, and our contemporary challenges of unleashing the needed prosperity to our people, the Black peoples of the world have traveled a long journey, and that is why I believe the statement commemorating Black history is absolutely important. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, in our own country, Ghana, we've had great leaders, great forebears, who stood up to fight for Ghanaian independence, Ghanaian freedom. But allow me, Mr. Speaker, to focus on land administration as a testament of the struggles and triumphs of our forebears. And by that, I refer to the likes of John Mensah Saba and co., who established the Aborigines Rights Protection Society, which, unlike other African countries, particularly Eastern African countries, were able to mobilize our compatriots and our citizens to stand against the Crown Bills Act of 1894, which sought to appropriate Ghanaian lands. And that is why today we have a situation in Ghana where the lands of Ghana are owned by the Ghanaian people and owned by stools, owned by skins, owned by clans, and the rest. And indeed, the Speaker, across the world, there have been notable personalities who have fought for the dignity of the black man. Dr. Martin Luther King is a classic example, and all through history, black people have championed black promoting the welfare of black people and the dignity of black people. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by touching on the very important point that the Honorable MP for Asin North spoke about so passionately and understandably. I can understand why he spoke that passionately about that subject, which is dual citizenship and the right for citizens, the need for citizens to have the right to representation and also have the right to participate in the governance of our country whilst holding citizenship of other countries. Mr. Speaker, I only want to point out and make the point that it's a welcome call and all of us should support it. But while supporting it, we also have to be mindful that rights go along with duties. And as the honorable member may be familiar with, the tax jurisprudence of our country, for example, is a source-based tax system, which means that you are taxed only when your income is sourced from the Ghanaian jurisdiction. Unlike other countries where taxation is based on citizenship, mere citizenship. And therefore, if you're a citizen of a country like the United States, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you earn your income, the United States tax regime will catch up with you and you have to pay taxation. In Ghana, if you're a Ghanaian citizen and your source of income is not within the Ghanaian jurisdiction, you are not obliged to pay taxation, to pay taxes to the Ghanaian state. And therefore, whilst we call for and support for dual citizens to have certain rights, I believe that there's also a gamut of other duties we have to examine. One of them that I'm also passionate about is the question of taxation. So that if you're a dual citizen and you're entitled to be a member of parliament, you're entitled to be a chief justice, and you are earning your income from, say, the United Kingdom, the Ghanaian tax regime should be able to catch up with you as well. So, Speaker, with this, I thank the maker of the statement for making this
Thank you very
statement.
much. Yes, let me come to Honorable Member for Medina.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very important statement on the Black History Month by our colleague, Honorable James J. Chikwesi, Member of Parliament for Asin North constituency. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, this statement is very timely because it reminds us of a number of things, starting from local to maybe global. I think the first thing it reminds us of is the duty on the nation to pass that very, very important dual citizenship law that was introduced by a private member in the 8th Parliament. Unfortunately, we could not pass that law before the 8th Parliament dissolved. I am hopeful that the new Attorney General and the Minister for Interior would come together and ensure that that bill is relayed on the floor of Parliament so we can look at it speedily. Mr. Speaker, of course, there is justification for this. The mere fact that a person has moved from Ghana to another country or picked a citizenship from another country doesn't mean the person has lost his original citizenship or where he was born. And Mr. Speaker, not only that, research and data available from the World Bank, Bank of Ghana, and other financial institutions shows that the remittances that comes to this country, the amount of contribution, financial contribution that our diasporans do to this country is unimaginable. So how on earth do we accept all these remittances, all this support, and yet when it comes to ensuring their rights to participate in our local governance structure, we tend to discriminate against them? So, Mr. Speaker, I really believe that the time is ripe for us to critically look at the dual citizenship law and then amend same. Mr. Speaker, secondly, the statement again reminds us of a collective responsibility as Africans and African citizens. Mr. Speaker, you realize that most of the world leaders or the forebearers, for example, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, were people who had opportunity to study beyond the four corners of Ghana. So it means that the diasporan experience is also very important because it kind of opens our worldview. It helps us to understand what is
focus on local economic improvement. We will have most blacks having to stay in Africa, but not to run out of this continent. Mr. Speaker, then coming back to the statements once again on the issue of dual citizenship. Mr. Speaker, a lot of African countries have benefited from dual citizen because our ability to learn and unlearn and learn is one that countries develop with. If you look at what is going in China, China had the opportunity to even go and learn a lot of things from the Americas and from Germany, and they've gone back to help their country with. So I think it's the right time that we in Ghana and in Africa give our dual citizens the opportunity to be able to contribute fully to the development of our nation, recognizing the struggles that most of our leaders that have led this country to where we are has done. If you look at the history of our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, he had the opportunity to live in the United States. So most of our leaders that have led this country did. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to support my brother, the Honorable Member of Parliament, that we will have to relook at this dual citizen law and see how best we can bring meaning to it, so that the power and the resilience of the Black race can contribute to the development of our nation, Ghana. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Let him now acknowledge the Deputy Minister Designate for Health. Yes. Professor Ayinsu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to make a comment on this statement. And thank you for the maker of the statement, Honorable Jachi Kwesin, Member of Parliament from Asin North constituency. Mr. Speaker, the issue of Black History Month is a very important month for Africans and Africans in the diaspora. I want to bring this Black History Month issue back to the medical industry as a medical doctor and a surgeon specialist myself. When we look at Blacks in the diaspora, there's a lot of expertise that Ghana can benefit from medical experts in the diaspora. They cut across from Brazil to Middle East, to the Caribbean, to America, to Canada, to the UK. All across the world, we have Blacks who are experts in the medical field. These are some super specialized experts. As we sit here today in Ghana, Mr. Speaker, we have issues with medical expertise where we have enough experts. Where we have experts, we don't have enough of them. So what happens in most of our hospitals is that you see that the same experts are rotating through all the medical centers. So we are at a deficit of medical experts. Some of the medical experts are in areas where there's only one or two of them in the entire country. So in celebrating Black History Month, I would urge this House to make it easier for medical experts in the diaspora to come and support our health system. Oftentimes, it is very difficult to even transition. For instance, when you come from elsewhere, there are certain exams you have to take. The exams are usually done 1 or 2 times a year, and you have to do an oral exam, which all of us had to do. And the process of at least getting a medical license is a little bit tedious and maybe sometimes inconvenient. So as a House, I would recommend that maybe we look into those and see how best we can make it easier for Africans in the diaspora to come to Ghana to support our health industry. Mr. Speaker, I would like to also say that even if these experts are not coming here permanently, we can use them on a rotational basis. We have NGOs that can bring doctors and experts maybe every 3 months to help the Ghanaian health system and support the system Most of these experts, because of their patriotism, would probably do it and do it for free. So it will almost be at no cost to the Ghanaian medical system, yet we are going to benefit from their great expertise. So in conclusion, I would like to thank Honorable Jachi Kwesen for bringing up this very important month of Black History Month. And I would also like to use this opportunity to thank the people in the cocoa growing areas of my constituency of Isika Duketan constituency, the people in Imbridani, the people in Atiasi, the people in Bohumbozen, and all the cocoa growing areas in Isika Duketan. I would like to wish them a happy chocolate day, and hopefully this weekend I will bring chocolate to all of them in the villages, and we can enjoy the end product of our hard work. And I would also like to highlight what is happening with our cocoa. Most of the cocoa areas the cocoa plants are being cut down to make way for galamsey. And I think that we should also look into that, because cocoa is a very important product for the country, and it brings in most of our income for the country. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to make this contribution. Thank you.
Thank you. So now everybody gets the floor and he wants to take advantage. Yes, Honorable Minister for Education.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to thank the Honorable Jachi Kwesen for the statement on the Black History Month, and to call on us in recognizing the monumental contribution of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to the economic, social, and political development of our country, the contribution of Nelson Mandela, not just breaking the walls of apartheid and ensuring that South Africa was ushered into a democracy which gave more power and rights to persons with Black background, and then also in celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King. Mr. Speaker, in commending him on his statement, may I refer you to the paragraph in the second page, where he says that issue of dual citizenship. Mr. Speaker, the onus is on us as a country, that are we ready to make the best use of the expertise acquired by Ghanaians who have lived and worked abroad for several years, but for good reason had to give up their citizenship for other countries. We know that the motivation at the time for many who traveled to the United Kingdom or to the United States, they acquired those citizenship because they didn't want to be chased around like they are being chased around today. So they had to switch citizenship in order that they gain some of the benefits associated with the citizenship of that country. But Mr. Speaker, in 1993, when the Constitution was promulgated, with your indulgence, I quote, the Constitution in Article 8 read, and Mr. Speaker, I quote, which was repealed. It says in Article 8:1, a citizen of Ghana may hold the citizenship of any other country in addition to his citizenship of Ghana. So, Mr. Speaker, constitutional. If you are a Ghanaian and you choose that you want to hold the citizenship of another country, our law, our constitution permit it, lawful. But Mr. Speaker, in 8:2, it reads, without prejudice to Article 94(2) of the Constitution, and this is the emphasis, no citizen of Ghana shall qualify to be appointed as a holder of any office specified in this clause if he holds the citizenship of any other country in addition to his citizenship of Ghana. So if you are a dual citizen, you cannot be ambassador or a high commissioner. You cannot be secretary to the cabinet. You cannot be chief of defense staff or any service chief. You cannot be inspector general of police. You cannot be commissioner customs, excise and preventive service, director of immigration service, and Mr. Speaker, any office specified by an act of parliament. So what parliament chooses to do. So Mr. Speaker, when you are a dual citizen, even in Parliament. What we need to do, and Mr. Speaker, I'm particularly happy you are in the chair. What is the difference between allegiance to the state and citizenship? They cannot be the same legally. If you follow the Bilson case in the early days of the 1993 Constitution, you owe allegiance to another state. The assumption is that when you are a dual citizen, your allegiance have shifted, and that you may not owe allegiance to the country of your birth or your country of nationality. So, Mr. Speaker, what we need to do, which one of our colleagues tried doing in the last Parliament, I believe he was the chairman of the Committee on Roads. We almost got it through. Mr. Speaker, it was myself and Honorable Chairman discussing this, and probably that's why I'm raising it. He came at private member bill to amend the Constitution. I do not think that the Constitution is weightier. If you want to amend the Constitution, let it be the decision of the state. That's why the president is head of state. The initiative must be that of the president, that I'm seeking to amend the Constitution in Article 8 and to allow for dual citizens to hold certain category of public offices. As we can, my concern, by which we can deal with when we get to the lawmaking, is that it cannot be open to every other office. But so for elected member of parliament, you cannot be a dual citizen and at the same time be an elected member of parliament. But should we not amend the Constitution? As I said, allegiance of state is not the same thing. Then, Mr. Speaker, whilst commending him, let me conclude again in his paragraph 4, and to assure this House that sooner than later, Excellency John Dramani Mahama will launch the Black Star experience. I met him taxing the Minister for Tourism to take this initiative up and do what is appropriate so that it becomes an essential part of Ghana's independence celebration. It was a view of the president that this year is too close, but at least into next year, the Minister for Tourism will lead the president's policy reforms in making the Black Star experience a model to attract more tourism and more tourists into our country, and for us to celebrate our culture and to celebrate our values as a people. Mr. Speaker, finally, whilst I commend the Honorable Jechikwesen, today, Ghana, our image is soaring very high, and that is why we must work to preserve it. Just the transition of political power from one political party to the other, from a different political party to the other, as to Ghana becoming a beacon of hope in the pursuit of multi-party constitutional democracy. What we need to do is to preserve our respect to the fundamentals of the rule of law and pray that Ghana does not tomorrow move into the annals of a banana republic where we are not governed by law, but governed by the weight of some other person. So the Honorable Jechikwesen, let me commend you for the statement, and do take part when the Minister for Tourism is leading the Black Star Experience initiative of the President to drive his resetting agenda in the tourism sector. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. So we have to amend Article 8(2) of the Constitution. And probably, Mr. Speaker, when we get there, we may have to look at Article 94. Again, the Constitutional Review Commission can take advantage of it. And citizens of Ghana who feel strong about it abroad, including Professor Azai and co, they were the team that kept coming to Mr. Speaker and your good self, urging us to make sure that we took off that part from our laws. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I now reach out to leadership?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. I commend highly the maker of the statement. Mr. Speaker, if anyone has to pay attention to issues of Black History Month, I think the New Patriotic Party did so very well with reference to the celebration of the year of return and beyond the return. I also take a cue from my very senior mentor, who had to go into details of discussing issues of allegiance and citizenship. Mr. Speaker, we also are very well versed to the extent of knowing that every citizen has responsibilities. So if you are a citizen and you also want to serve your state, there are due obligations for you to take up, including paying your taxes, including ensuring that whatever you are doing to the other country that you have taken up at another point of citizenship, you are providing same allegiance to your original country. Mr. Speaker, and we know that this cannot be measured as to whether or not one is very allegiant or one is not. Mr. Speaker, we are here today to believe that the Constitution, if you look at chapter 3 of the Constitution, and in particular 8123, there have been some amendments that we also have to pay attention to, and to understand that it is very important for anybody who wants to be seen as a Ghanaian to do so in a whole perspective, not in a partial perspective. Whole to the extent that you are a true Ghanaian and that you can be a Speaker of Parliament when you tomorrow decide to do so, because you are qualified to do so. Mr. Speaker, as we are here today, we want to believe that if we put everything in proper perspective, tomorrow anybody who qualifies to have a dual citizenship should have so without any problems. And such a person should also be able to contest an election without any problems. That is why, on this note, I commend the maker of the statement, and more especially my senior learned friend, for also bringing in an aspect of the issue of allegiance. How do you prove allegiance? And that is a matter which is very critical and we all have to pay attention to. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to contribute to this statement.
Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I would also like to thank the maker of the statement, Honorable J. Chikwesen, for making this important statement. Mr. Speaker, the issue of Black History Month is a global one, not only to Africa, but Africans in the diaspora. And it is worth celebrating. And that is why Americans have made it a very important month for the history of the African people. Mr. Speaker, African people or African descent have gone through various experiences, you know, in the over a century. They have also excelled in many walks of life. Mr. Speaker, wherever you go in the world, there is an African who is doing something quite important. Therefore, it's not a doubt that Africans are capable of doing what other, race or other shades of people are doing in the world. And we don't celebrate ourselves enough. And it is important that we do so. In any field that you mentioned, there is an African there who has done extremely well. At the top end of diplomacy, of politics, we've seen Africans who have occupied global positions, like the United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan and many others, and they're still doing it. Mr. Speaker, it is worth celebrating that I know Nkrumah said Africans are capable of managing our own affairs, but sometimes we look like we are not capable of managing our own affairs. But we have managed affairs of other people. Therefore, we should be capable of managing our own affairs. We are just not getting something right. And those are the things we need to look at and not have a doubt in ourselves that we are actually capable of managing our own affairs. Mr. Speaker, I think some perspectives have been shared by my honorable friend, the Education Minister, on the issue of this dual citizenship. And I think the maker of the statement, who we know had a personal experience of this, was right in making a statement. I do pray that eventually we're able to revisit this bill and make sure that Ghanaians, wherever they are, can come back home and make a significant contribution to Ghana's economy. Mr. Speaker, we get a lot from foreign remittances from Ghanaians who are working and living abroad. Yet, when it comes to certain positions, the same Ghanaians who are making a significant contribution to Ghana's economy cannot participate because of the citizenship issue. We do have Ghanaians who are dual citizenship and do other things. I believe we have Ghanaians who are dual citizenship who play for the national team. So if you are good enough to play for the national team and you are representing Ghana, and we have faith in you that you do the right thing and make sure Ghana win the matches, why is it not possible that the same Ghanaian can serve as a member of parliament or any position, any political position, and have a suspicion that that person will either not do right for Ghana or we have something to worry about? So I think that issue needs to be revisited. And as the Education Minister said, coming as a private member bill, I think itself was a bit problematic. And it needs to be weightier, I do agree. And it's an issue that we need to look at because every now and then it becomes a problem which doesn't, I don't believe, serves the country well, that we are losing people with certain expertise that can contribute to the country, but they fall short of doing so because of the challenges that they might encounter when they make that attempt to come home and help. Mr. Speaker, I take the opportunity again to thank the maker of the statement, of this important statement. And with these few words, Mr. Speaker, I would like to end here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, honorable members. I think with regards to this issue of dual citizenship, our brother, Professor Kokuya Sali, has always been reaching out as to how we will get this bill done. I think a lot of our brothers and sisters sitting elsewhere who are desirous to come and also not only coming to take part in the management and the development of the country, we also want to take part in our elections. They are pushing so many discussions on board. And I think going forward, when we revisit that particular bill, we can look at it from all these angles. People are even suggesting that why can't we have diasporan constituencies, whereby Ghanaians in Europe or America, you have setting up set constituencies for them, so that all Ghanaians over there will contest, and whoever is elected will be part of our legislative body. So there are so many discussions that are going on, and I think once we revisit that particular bill, we will look at it from all this angle. So Honorable Judge Kwesi, we thank you for bringing this to the fore. And our ministers, Elizabeth and Jifa, and our Deputy Majority Whip, who also made a statement in regards to the day, we thank all of you. On that note, I think we'll bring the curtains down for the day. So, Honorable Member, I think since we've not exhausted our 5 hours, you can move a motion for us to adjourn the House.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. I don't know if I have the floor, sorry.
Mr. Speaker, yes, but we are tired, and I would like to move a motion for us to bring proceedings to an end today and adjourn until Tuesday next week.
Very well.
Yeah.
Yes, minority leadership.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I propose 12 o'clock on Tuesday.
Mr. Speaker, we are not against the motion. We only will take this opportunity to wish each and every person a happy chocolate day and to wish the people of Wejagbawe a happy chocolate day. Mr. Speaker, we thank you very much.
Yes, honorable members, even though the majority leadership proposed 12, my directive from Mr. Speaker is to come to the chamber by 10. So the House is adjourned to Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.
to hold a press conference to brief the press. Then, as part of our bona fides as a parliament, the majority leader should program him to also brief the House. Mr. Speaker, he is not required to provide a reason, give a reason for, entering only protocol. But we are saying that to the extent that he has decided to give an explanation to the media, we are the people's representative. It's only a request to the leader of government business to invite him here so that he briefs us. So that's basically the point I am making. Mr. Speaker, I'll rest my case on that for the leader to answer to some of the questions.
Honorable Minority Leader and honorable members, in Ghana, the Attorney General has a statutory power to issue a nollie prosequi under the Ghanaian Criminal Procedure Code, 1960 Act 30, to discontinue any criminal proceedings before final judgment is made. And this is without question from anybody. So I believe when the Attorney General is programmed to come here, the House would have been questioning the Attorney General on the exercise of the power or the exercise of the authority. So,
Speaker, no, that is not, Mr. Speaker.
Please, let's tread cautiously.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, with respect, it's a good exercise. Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minority Leader, I believe let's tread cautiously. Let's tread cautiously.
Mr. Speaker.
I just want us to trade cautiously.
We are here to learn, Mr. Speaker. We are here to learn, and you are here to also help with the process of government, Mr. Speaker. It is not for us to question the Attorney General's discretion. I mount my requests on the ground that he himself, Somoto, has engaged the press. In fact, this is the first time in our recent history that an Attorney General has invited the press to give explanation as to why he has discontinued the case. And I'm saying the right forum for this act is Parliament. I am only inviting the leader of government business. Mr. Speaker, I am only inviting the leader of government business as part of the business statement to program him. Because, Mr. Speaker, the matter is relevant because this is business statement. Business statement is to consider the business of the ensuing week. And we have good reason as a House to allow contributions after the leader has made the presentation. So in making contribution, I am urging upon the respected leader that he should consider inviting the Attorney General. That is if it finds favor with him and with the leave of the House. That he comes
thank you very much.
To brief us. It is not enough to brief the press because this is an important national issue. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Thank you. I will give the floor to the Majority Leader to respond. And before doing that, honourable members, let's remind ourselves that the issue under consideration is the business statement of the 6th week ending Friday, 21st February 2025. It was in relation of the said business statement we are taking comments. Honourable members, I want us to focus on it and comment as such.
Mr. Speaker, I thank honorable colleagues for drawing attention to a number of matters relating to the business program for next week. Let me start with the issue of appointments raised by the minority leader. I believe the minority leader is aware of Article 79 of the Constitution. Article 79 of the Constitution says the President may, in consultation with a Minister of State and with the prior approval of Parliament, appoint one or more deputy ministers. So the appointment of a deputy minister has to be done in consultation with the substantive minister. So the nominations for deputy ministers cannot come at the same speed that those of the substantive ministers came. So I hope that you are educated a little now. You appreciate it. So now that the ministers are in place, the president has to take his time, consult their sector ministers, and agree with them on the deputy ministers, and now bring the nominations. So take your time. The president is consulting his ministers, and after the consultation, he will bring you the names. So I hope you understand. Now, the issue of other agencies. Move this organization, you move to this other organization. That is where you may then be asked to serve as a substantive head or CEO of that agency. So what is happening is not out of the ordinary. It is normal. And that is what is expected when there is a transition. On the Roads Authority, the other day it was raised in this house, and the Minister for Roads was here. And I inquired, and it turned out that the workers in the ministry had petitioned the Labour Commission, and the Labour Commission had gone into the matter, and they then decided that the implementation of the act should be suspended pending their resolution of the labor issues. So this was a decision of the Labour Commission. It had nothing to do with the minister. In fact, the minister hadn't gotten to the ministry yet when the Labour Commission took that decision. And I saw a copy of the decision of the Labour Commission. So it is not this government that has decided to suspend the implementation of the act. It is the Labour Commission that has directed that the implementation of the act be suspended in the interim whilst they resolve the labor issue, because in the opinion of the Labour Commission, there were some appointments, some promotions, and some labor issues that will make it difficult for the provisions of the act to be implemented. So that is a decision of the Labour Commission and not the government of the NDC. And then on the issue of USAID funding gap, I think a president can direct the finance minister that he should find a way of dealing with the gap that will be created because of the suspension of USAID funding coming into the country. I am told that last year, USAID funding alone was about 150 million United States dollars. So if that is suspended by the US government or it is taken out of what will normally come to us, the finance minister, in preparing his budget, has to find a way of making sure that he makes provision so that those activities that were funded by the USAID can now be dealt with by the government of Ghana. For instance, some of the USAID funding goes into things like supporting, antiretroviral medications. There are a number of activities that they support. And so if they stop funding those activities, malaria-related matters, I think the other day, the former Minister for Finance made a statement in which he outlined areas where normally the government of Ghana gets support through USAID to fund. And so if we're losing that, then we have to make provision for some way of funding those activities. And so when the president writes or communicates to the finance minister to make provision for the funding gap that will be created, it is to draw his attention so that in the budget that he will be presenting to this parliament, he will make sure that he takes care of all those activities. Indeed, this is a very responsive government. This is a statement made by your own former Minister of Finance. He drew attention to the fact that there will be a funding gap. He was rather trying to convince this government not to do away with certain taxes that we promised to do away with. That was what he proposed. But we rejected that and said, don't worry, we'll find a way of dealing with that funding gap that will be created. We will not continue with certain draconian taxes that we disagree with, no matter what funding gap is going to be created by USAID funding not coming into the country. On the issue of sitting in the afternoons, I have always been an advocate of sitting in the afternoons because I've also gone around West Africa and I have noticed that a lot of parliaments tend to sit in the afternoon so that they allow professionals like lawyers, doctors, and etc., and then business people to go and practice. Because what happens is that when people get elected as members of parliament and they are lawyers, the legal profession, loses the services of those people. Because we're supposed to sit at 10 o'clock, and then you can't go to court, and then the doctors can't go to the hospitals. By the time they close, it's too late, they are tired, and all that. So in some jurisdictions, they start sitting in the afternoon, and then they close very late into the night, and then they get work done. So I have no issue, except that it's a matter that should be discussed with the Speaker, and it's going to be the Speaker's decision. It cannot be Business Committee decision, because our standing orders make provision for us starting sitting at 10 a.m. And so Business Committee will continue to program on the assumption that sitting will start at 10 a.m. in the morning. House Committee, we discussed it, and we indicated that next week we'll present the report of the Committee of Selection so that we can constitute the various committees. And so House Committee is one of those committees that the standing orders make provision for, and so it will also be part of the report, and therefore the House Committee will come into existence. The Minister for Finance has indicated that he would want to present the budget either on the 10th or 11th, but I told him the 10th is a Monday, and since we don't sit on Mondays, 11 March is a more appropriate date for him to present the budget. So 11 March is the date that the minister proposes to bring the budget to us for consideration. The Office of the President has also communicated that the State of the Nation address, if we are available as a House, can be presented on the 27th of February. On the 27th of February. So that is the provisional date that is the Office of the President has communicated to us regarding the presentation of the State of the Nation by His Excellency the President. I believe that the minority leader knows that there are many ways by which matters can be brought before this House. You can ask a question to the minister. He is a minister, in addition to being the Attorney General. So his responsibility as to the minister, he is a minister, in addition to being the Attorney General. So his responsibility as a minister is to this House. His exercise of his powers as Attorney General, those are discretionary powers that he has exercised. And so you can ask the minister a question, and he will come to this House and answer those questions. You can also make a statement in this house. And we can all comment on your statements. But you cannot always seek to use business statement presentation as a platform to organize a press conference. You cannot be allowed to do that. So please cease and desist. Cease and desist from continuing to try to use this platform as a platform for organizing press conferences. As for what happened in Kumasi, this house doesn't know what happened in Kumasi. If you want this house to deal with any matter that happened in Kumasi, come properly. Bring a question to the Minister for Interior. He will come and answer the questions. If it relates to the conduct of the police, he will come and answer questions. If it relates to matters of law and order in the country, he will come and answer questions. But like I said, cease and desist your conduct of always trying to use business statement time as a platform for making press conferences. We will not allow that. We will not allow you to continue. Today we indulge you. Next time, we will prevent you from making such statements on the floor of the House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Minority Leader, you know you don't have a right to respond. So, Honorable Minority Leader, let's make progress. With all due respect to you, Honorable Minority Leader. Honorable Leader, I will give you the floor after adopting the business statement. On the business statement.
Mr. Speaker, with respect. Mr. Speaker, with respect. Let's not set up a new precedent. I keep saying it. Mr. Speaker, only yesterday, I was a leader of government business. The majority leader in opposition, I would go for the Hansard. I've enjoyed these tutorials, but fortunately, Hansard is always a record to guide us. Today, when you are raising a matter for a minister to be programmed, you are told that you should go for a press conference. No, I take it lightly. I know he said it on a lighter note. But Mr. Speaker, these are part of the bona fides of every member of parliament. You ask a question, you make a statement, and also make an application for a minister to be programmed to brief the House on a national issue. And that is the government of the application I made. So I'm not wrong at all. I cannot be wrong on this matter. Mr. Speaker, I asked that there is violence in Kumasi regarding this Council of State election, that the Minister of Interior be programmed. I said that we've seen reassignment of people from one agency to the other. Is it the case that the government was not prepared at the time he took office? So these are national issues I'm raising. There was nothing wrong with them. And then I also said the Attorney General should be programmed to come and explain to us why he did a press conference and the people's representatives have not been briefed. So I am saying that he should program him to come and brief the House. These are national issues. But Mr. Speaker, I'll rest my case. I've taken his tutorials, but the majority leader should be rest assured that next week I'll bring the Hansard. Research is not a problem for me. I am going to bring all his issues he raised when he was in the middle bench and also acted as a de facto legal advisor to his front bench. He was a de facto legal advisor to the front bench. He was always harassing me when I was in that black seat with issues. And today he says, I should file a question. Next time they will prevent me. I don't know how they are going to prevent me. Whether they are going to sacrifice me or not, I don't know. But Mr. Speaker, I learned, Mr. Speaker, I'm guided by the precedent they taught me when I was a majority leader. The way Roxanne Dafiama, the current chief whip, you arrest my case. He will raise quorum. The Dafiama quorum. Today they are complaining about quorum. He will raise quorum and I have to beg him. Today, you see,
Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Honorable Minority Leader, thank you very much. All members, the business statement for the 6th week ending Friday, 21st February 2025 is hereby adopted. Honourable members, item number 7, statements. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this opportunity to make this statement on the aftermath of the Chief of Staff's directive to state institutions regarding employment of civil servants and public servants post December 7. Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, in a letter dated 10th of February 2025 with reference SCR/DA85/B5/01/A, Office of the President, revocation of appointment and recruitment made after 7 December 2024. Consistent with government pronouncement in relation to near end of tenure appointments and recruitment, I wish to bring to your attention that all appointment and recruitment made in the public services of Ghana after December 7, 2024 are not in compliance with established good governance practices and principles. Accordingly, all heads of government institutions are hereby requested to take the necessary steps to annul any such appointment or recruitment and submit a comprehensive report on the actions taken to this office by 17th of February 2025. Your cooperation in this matter is highly appreciated. Signed, Honorable Julius Deborah, Chief of Staff, and it's been copied to all heads of government institutions. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to this, state institutions have been issuing termination letters, revoking appointments, and it is causing a lot of trauma to the youth of the country who have been employed by the states. Mr. Speaker, I have seen letters from the GRA, from Ghana Water, from GRICHMO, and of particular concern is Ghana Health Service. Health professionals who were recruited have been given letters to go home. Teachers who were recruited have been given letters to go home. Mr. Speaker, recruitment is not an event. It is a process. It is not just a day that an institution will get up, call somebody and give a letter. In our own parliament here, recruitment started as far back as June, July, August. It's only around January that some people receive their appointment letters. They go through interview, do aptitude tests, have to pass medicals. So, knowing Honorable Julius Deborah, perhaps he meant well, and this is somebody I respect. I do not think that the intent of this letter was for state institutions to dismiss, revoke, appointment. I believe that perhaps some clarity would have to be given. If he says that in the interest of good governance practices, all appointment after December 7 should be revoked. Is it the argument that even where the process had started and the time that you are giving your letter is post 7 December, so you should lose your job? Mr. Speaker, I'm guided by history. In 2017, particularly May 26th, 2017, at 7:12 p.m., former President John Dramani Mahama, as he then was, tweeted, quote, "Bad precedent for our governance. Mass sacking of workers by the MPP government unacceptable." He goes further at 7:13 p.m. the same evening. "These workers are all citizens and like all Ghanaians have rights which must be protected." Then hashtag one Ghana, one people. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to this, there were serious behind the scenes discussions. And although government had intended to scrutinize these recruitments, no Ghanaian worker was sent home. I know about the Yoko. There were recruitments at the Yoko. Not a single one of them was sent home. And I say this on authority. EPA, health insurance, SNIT, Mr. Speaker, a lot of government agencies that had done recruitment. And the explanation was that the process started before December 7th. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama raised this matter. Mr. Speaker, I remember that recruitment into immigration services, the Ghanaian youth went into training after December 7th. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was the one who presided over the parade for the graduation in March. The records are there. Mr. Speaker, let us be very careful as a nation. The goodwill our friends have must not erode rather too early or rather too soon. Again and again, to conclude, I know Mr. Julius Zebra, he himself is a private sector person. He's a businessman who knows how, when somebody is employed, it adds value to the economy. So I do not think he had intended that people who have gone through aptitude tests, gone through interviews, should be sent home. But it is all over the place. It is all over the place that our countrymen and women, our youth, are being sent home. They went to office, they were asked to come home with these letters. Where do they find food to eat? How do they feed their families? How do they feed themselves? What is going to be their future? On the strength of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's tweet of May 2017, I would want to adopt these words as though they were mine. These are very veritable words that he used to crave the indulgence of the government at the time to get back to ensure that our people did not lose jobs. And I repeat it, these workers are all citizens of Ghana, and like all Ghanaians, have rights which must be protected. One Ghana, one people. End quote. Mr. Speaker, I rest my.
Honorable members, I would not open the floor for debate, but take response from the majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, like I keep saying, Parliament is a space where we can make statements, we can draw attention to important public matters. Mr. Speaker, let us also be even and balanced when we view matters in this House. I served as a member of the transition team, and I recall that during that period, there was a mad rush to employ people. Even after a party had lost an election and was on its way out, after December 7th, we saw ministers in a hurry to have people interviewed and taken through the processes so that they could be officially served with employment letters. And at the transition team meetings, joint meetings, we raised issues. We told our counterparts who were outgoing ministers that that practice must stop because a number of issues are implicated. One, we all know that you must have fiscal space before you take decisions to employ people. You are leaving. We are coming in. We haven't told you that the public money that is available, we want to commit it to paying workers. So you cannot clock the fiscal space and then leave us with problems that we cannot deal with. So we pleaded with them to hold on with the recruitments. And at the meetings, they told us that so long as they had gotten financial clearance during the year, they will proceed with the recruitment. And we said that is wrong. Once you haven't done the recruitment, hold on. When we come in, we'll assess the situation and see whether we have fiscal space to do recruitments or not. And they insisted on recruiting and insisted that so long as they were in office until January 7th, they were the validly established government of the Republic of Ghana and they will do whatever pleases them. And so they were going to recruit. I was in the meetings. Minutes of the meetings exist. I can point to specific outgoing ministers who made those statements. So if you engage in such recklessness and you go and you know that you are leaving office, and you decide to load the public sector with workers, that will make it difficult for the incoming government. What do you expect? What do you expect? What do you expect? So, Mr. Speaker, I will not. Look, I made those statements at the transition team meetings, and I'm repeating those statements here, that it is reckless for you to leave, for you to know that you are leaving office, but you decide to load the public sector with workers so that the incoming government will come and inherit such workers, and then we'll be struggling with how to pay them. Mr. Speaker, look, I chaired about 8 ministries, the transitions. I saw an agency, I won't mention the name, but if you push me, I'll mention the name. Mr. Speaker, when we were leaving office in 2017 January, that agency had about 120 workers with a certain asset to manage. At the transition, we asked them today, how many workers are in that agency? Mr. Speaker, there were over 1,000 workers. Mr. Speaker, we asked them, have you added additional assets for them to manage? No. So assets that we could use 110 workers to manage, you have come and you have loaded that same organization with over 1,000 workers. 1,000 workers. It's not a question of whether or not they are not Ghanaians. It is about the proper management of the state. That is why the NDC government, that is why the NDC as a party realized that this country should not be run with over 180 ministers. That is why we have reduced the number of ministers to 60. Because we want this country to be properly managed with the labor force that is needed to manage it. And so if you, at the time that we're cautioning you during transition, to be circumspect with your recruitment exercise, and you said you will not do it, what makes you think that today will allow those recruitments to stay? I think that what the Chief of Staff has done is proper. It is consistent with good governance, and we will review the recruitments that took place, and we will reverse them as indicated. This house, I was in this house when the Minister for Interior came and said he was going to recruit people into the security agencies. During the transition meetings, we cautioned him, please do not proceed with the recruitment. In this house, we said, even if you have to recruit, go through the proper advertisements and give every young person an opportunity. Mr. Speaker, if we go and we want to interrogate a lot of the recruitments that took place, you will realize clearly that those recruitments amounted to abuse of discretion. There was no proper advertisement. There were no proper advertisements. People sat down and then just agreed among themselves, brought together family members, brought together foot soldiers, and then they went and recruited them. That was what happened. How many did you advertise? How many did you advertise? How many did you give opportunity to every Ghanaian in order to apply and be taken through the proper processes? Mr. Speaker, we know what happened in this country. And that is why Ghanaians voted overwhelmingly for the NDC. Because what happened was wrong. And Ghanaians expect us to correct what is wrong. What was wrong yesterday is wrong today. But what you did yesterday, which is wrong, must be corrected today. We cannot allow it to stand. So what the Chief of Staff has said, which is that we should reverse what has happened, we on this side of the house, we stand by it. And we will push it and make sure that fairness exists in the public sector. When it comes to recruitment under our government, I want to assure you that we will also ensure that there's fairness, that there's equity, that we are even-handed in doing whatever we do, that every Ghanaian young person is given a fair opportunity, an opportunity that they were not given in the past. We will give every young Ghanaian the opportunity because, as we promised, we are resetting this country, and the resetting begins now. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, order. Honourable members, order. Yes, Honourable Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I couldn't have risen on a point of order against my leader when he was in the dispatch box. I've always held the view that the dispatch box is a unique place, so you cannot rise on a point of order. But, Mr. Speaker, I think that the leader has been an advocate for measured language. I raised this matter in good faith, and we are not to repeat a vicious cycle in our country. The point is that if he uses the word recklessness against his former colleagues, and then also says that family and friends and foot soldiers were recruited and all. Mr. Speaker, I do not think that these should be part of our record, especially coming from the leader of the House. So, Mr. Speaker, I would want to register these as my protest. If he is minded to take these words back, so be it. If he feels strongly about it that they should, if he feels strongly that indeed these should be part of the record and that Ghanaians who have been recruited should be sent home and they don't deserve to be employed, I have already made my point. I've relied on what President John Dramani Mahama said, and I will not litigate the matter any longer.
Order. Our members, I feel this is a simple matter that the two leaders can engage with the minister responsible for labor being involved. They can have audience with the chief of staff, and then most of these matters will then be resolved. There will be a better understanding when the chief of staff is engaged. Then we will all appreciate the nature of the action that he has taken. So I will urge the two leaders to engage, rope in the minister responsible for labor to resolve some of these issues. Honourable members, today is Chocolate Day and Valentine's Day. Honourable members, we have admitted 3 statements that we have to take jointly on Chocolate Day and Valentine's